Well, good morning. My name is George Sandman. I'm the founder and CEO of Growth Drive. I'm also the CEO of Core Value Advisor Software. And I'm talking to you today from the Growth Drive, from a Growth Drive perspective. And we're going to talk about the upcoming Growth Specialist Certification Workshop. And I always start by thinking about why CEOs would hire us, okay? CEOs will hire us because 62% of them want to grow their business, 21% want operational freedom, and 17% are preparing to sell their business, only to find out 83% of the time that the transferable value of their business is not high enough. It's too low. They need to grow it. So those of you who are exit planners out there, this is right in your wheelhouse. 83% of your exit planning customers are going to discover that their business is not worth enough. And we're going to talk today about a workshop through which you're going to learn how to grow profits and grow transferable value. Now, why should you attend? This is about expanding your reach and relevance with your existing clients and with new clients, right? Biz dev. And after completing the workshop, you're going to understand the techniques that private equity uses to grow profits, to create operational excellence, and that's the link between financial outputs, profits, and value, and to maximize transferable value. So you'll be able to help your clients execute a self-directed private equity play. And private equity has a great track record of helping businesses grow, don't they? Well, what they do isn't magic, okay? They don't have some black box. What they have is a process and a disciplined execution of that process. So Growth Drive, what we're trying to do is help you build a thriving practice. We're revolutionizing what it means to be the trusted advisor and expanding that role, the role that you play, into the very fabric of your client's business, expanding your reach and relevance, helping you build a thriving advisory business. Those of you who have worked with me for a long time know that is what drives me every day. And in this course, through Growth Drive, you're going to gain knowledge as a growth advisory playbook that you can execute, tools such as Core Value Advisor software, and support. And we have a very, very robust and sophisticated support system that includes one-on-one coaching, peer-to-peer support, business advisor peer groups, online community forums, study groups, etc. So a very robust support network to which you can turn as you're executing engagements, right? I've done a deep dive analysis. Now what? My client have shifted gears, etc. Where do you go with those questions? And we give you a platform where you can go and get answers. So who should come and become a growth specialist? And our community includes, and the people who are coming to the course already include management consultants, business coaches, CPA business advisors, certified financial planners and exit planners, M&A advisors, and fractional CFOs. Each of those professional focuses can expand what they're doing and link up, grow your network of like-minded folks. Now, the event's down in Charleston, South Carolina, beautiful town. Many of us are bringing our spouses and significant others. It's at the Vendu Hotel. It's a boutique hotel. Guys, it's beautiful. That's all I can tell you. We're going to have a lot of fun. Comfortable right in the heart of downtown. And there are a couple of events. Today, we're talking about and focusing on the certification workshop. There's also optional a growth conference on May 4th. So we'll focus in our conversation on Mays 2 and 3, Monday and Tuesday, and on the workshop itself. And then I'll give you some highlights of the conference as we wrap up. So the workshop's about becoming a growth specialist. And we use certified with a small c, right? There is no exam. When you go through the workshop, you will have earned the right to call yourself a growth specialist and with everything that comes along with it, including being sort of most favored nation for receiving referrals. People in the community will seek you out. And as referrals come into us here, we tend to give them to folks who have on-point expertise. The course is built on the shoulders of giants, okay? By participating in the course, you're going to get a workbook. It's a 1-inch thick binder with a ton of resources in there for you, very valuable resources. We draw on traction. We draw on scaling up. We use the resources from those works. Financial Intelligence, a fantastic book on understanding numbers. In fact, I recommend that you get a box of them and give them to each of your clients. The Culture Code. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. Let's talk about, and we will study and learn about creating a culture that's aligned with the needs of your client, of the CEO. And in the course, and you'll see in the course journey, we also rely on the work of Alan Weiss, $1 million consulting proposals. How do we win engagements? Because if we can't get the client to hire us, all of this is for naught, and we're not really helping them take their business to the next level. So what's the course journey look like? We start on Monday morning at 8 o'clock. A little earlier, there's breakfast and lunch are provided with the workshop. And anything you see in blue here is a group discussion. Anything you see in green is an exercise. I want to emphasize that this is experiential learning. You're going to have some senior advisors in the room helping lead this. Larry Prince is going to be helping me in this one. And we're going to talk about 3 different aspects of the engagement. Importantly, we'll spend a good amount of time working on successfully starting the growth conversation. We'll get into the core value tools a little bit. I'm using core value as a common language for the course. Okay, if you have other tools you prefer to use, great. They will apply. I guarantee, as long as they're bona fide. I mean, you could run the Growth Drive methodology with a good due diligence checklist. All right. So the journey starts with the conversation, analyzing the client business so we have total clarity about what the client needs to get the success they want, taking that analysis and using it. Once we've started the conversation, we understand our client's real goal, that they're their ultimate goal, to redesign the business, to create a strategic growth project plan. And we literally create a plan during the workshop, and we break up into groups, and you're going to roll up your sleeves and put this to practice. Create a strategic growth project plan, and then we'll move into execution. So we want to help you understand some of the skills that go into holding a client accountable and helping your client hold their senior leadership team accountable to these goals. And it's all built around a methodology we call the 3 dimensions of business growth. Those 3 dimensions are predictable profits and cash flow. That's the launch pad for growth, right? Let's make sure that we have high confidence in the cash that's going to be coming into the business. Make the business a little easier to run. You can use that cash to create predictable revenue growth, and both of those are accretive to the transferable equity value of the business. Analyze, design, and execute. Now, those aren't only part of the Growth Drive action cycle. The way we work with clients, we analyze, we create a plan, we execute that plan, then we come back and look at where have we gotten to, what impact have we had on the business. We run another analysis cycle. But the analyze, design, and execute, importantly, ladies and gentlemen, are 3 services. And services, I've put up here what your peers are charging for these services. So these are numbers that I'm hearing back from your colleagues. Analyze, $4,500 to $10,000, and you'll have the knowledge and tools to do that. Design, $10,500 to $50,000. Again, this is from middle market companies with revenues from $2.5 million to $50 million, heart of the middle market, right? Your typical client. And then execution. Execution is acting as a peer with the CEO, holding the senior leadership team accountable. This is typically a once a month meeting, $3,000 a month to $5,000 a month. So your colleagues are charging $60,000 a year and more to help the client execute the strategic growth project plan. Now, tune in, because there are a couple of concepts that we demystify through the workshop. Right now, a business has a current value, right? And that's a value net of risk. That's the way the market works. We have EBITDA, We put it against the multiple. We have company-specific risks. That reduces the multiple for sale for purposes of calculating evaluation. And that kind of gives us a ceiling. So if we can take our EBITDA and get the maximum multiple, not including strategic or synergistic sales, this is a financial model. We have one thing. We can maximize value at current EBITDA. Is that enough? Now, for the typical company, remember, 83% find out that the value of their business will not fund their family's wealth goal. That's important. So why shareholders own companies? And although we sometimes forget it as private business owners, that is really why we got into business in the first place, not to create a job, but to create an asset. And it doesn't take long for the client, Scott, this goes to our conversation earlier, it doesn't take long for the business owner to say, hey man, I like the options that we're creating here. And I would like to not only capture the latent value of my business, but I would like to increase the value of the business. So what we're going to do is increase EBITDA and link it, purposefully link it to the transferable value of the business. And one of the great things you'll learn to educate your client about is that the linkage between revenue and equity value is not automatic. It needs to be done purposefully. It needs to be designed into the business. So I'm not going to tell you how to do that. You have to come to the workshop to learn how. And we're going to work on a case in the workshop. The case is a company that has $1.2 million of EBITDA and can trade at a 2x multiple. Fairly typical, okay? So they're worth $2.4 million. And you're going to learn how, by increasing their revenues from 1.2 million to 3 million, we can increase the value of the business to 18 million. And think for a moment about the impact that would have on your client, the impact that'll have on your practice, and how much fun it is to run engagements like that. So just get a little snapshot. Growth is expensive. I talked about the books on which we rely in the course. And here's a little excerpt from Financial Intelligence. It's a Harvard Business Review book. The businesses most able to invest in growth will be those that can generate their own cash. And that is why we start every engagement with understanding how well the client can predict their cash flow. And so we get back to that opening conversation, successfully starting the growth conversation. There are several factors here, and I'll cover them quickly. Guys, this is literally a schematic I put together for actually for a gentleman who's going to be in the room in South Carolina. We're having a conversation about his client, and he had the client was pretty clear on where their goal was, but was not clear on the level of investment they might have to make and the attendant ROI from that investment. So we're going to work through understanding where the client wants to go in this conversation, making sure we understand, and this is important, we understand how committed the client is and how willing they are to commit time and treasure to this engagement, okay? Because this can take a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, but it has a huge ROI. And the dark horse here is freedom. You're creating a business that is easier to run, that is less reliant on the CEO. You were therefore increasing the value, delivering a very high ROI, while simultaneously giving them freedom, making the business less reliant on the founder, on the CEO. Okay, guys, think about it. That's why there are 3 dimensions of growth. And if you can educate your client about the positive impact that working with you will have on their business, think about where this takes them. And I can assure you, I can just tell you from hearing back from your colleagues that this conversation and moving down this track is incredibly powerful. We're going to look at an engagement timeline. So 3 dimensions of business growth, this methodology that has 8 objectives in each dimension. And as you'll learn, you can move your client in all 3 dimensions at once. And if you think about this, think about a 3-year engagement where you say, okay, we're going to take a year getting this business squared up so it's ready to really grow sustainably. Then we're going to harness, so we're going to throw some additional resources on top, and we're going to create predictable growth. Here I'm talking about, 20% per year per growth, not chaotic, the growth that causes vertigo. Been there, done that. This is good, predictable, sustainable growth, all of which is connected to predictable transferable value, and ultimately M&A prep. Okay, this business is going to have a stellar chance of approaching and successfully completing M&A, which is not true for most businesses. And during the workshop, we're going to talk about an engagement timeline, putting together a project plan. Like, a plan is great. We need to put this into pieces that can be executed in a logical order, and you will learn all about doing that and helping your client understand the ROI to them from working with you, right? Your client is going to get a huge ROI from engaging with you. That $60,000 annual retainer, let's say you've worked with them for 3 years. If we've moved $4 million from at risk into the business or grown the value of the business, your retainers are in the proper perspective, right? An equitable perspective. So we ran the first class down in Fort Lauderdale. It was a ton of fun. And a lot of these, those of you who've been around the community will recognize some of these faces. If you'd like some firsthand intel on what it's like to be in the course, what you get out of it, I recommend you go into the Growth Drive community, join up, and you can find these guys. They all have a tag. These women and men have tags behind their names about saying that they're a growth specialist. So you want to help your client grow profits and value. And we recognize that you can't launch a rocket with a slingshot, and you will be in a position to say our clients rely on our expertise to create predictable profits and cash flow, which is their launch pad for growth. Think about how great predictable profits and cash flow is for your advisory business. It is equally good for your clients. And we will learn how to create a launch pad and launch this rocket. And your colleagues are doing this every day. Now, I mentioned earlier that there's an optional component here. There's a conference on May 4th. So the workshop is Monday and Tuesday, the 2nd and 3rd. We're also having a conference on the 4th. And the topics are built around a story that's biz dev, how to land value enhancement engagements. We're going to go through a case study, do a couple of 1 hour or a little over an hour workshops where you're going to learn by doing again from some masters. Larry Prince on senior leadership, Tina Corner-Stoltz on the power of collective expertise, and moderating senior leadership meetings. Ton of stuff in the conference as well. It's super fun. And if you can't attend the workshop, there are also master classes on the 3rd. Now, these run in conjunction with the workshop. Okay, so the workshop is all day Monday and all day Tuesday. On Wednesday, for people who've already graduated from the workshop and others in the community, there are 2 master classes. In the morning, we're going to do a deep dive analysis intensive. How do you use the Core Value Advisor software, become a ninja in using the deeper levels of the software. And in the afternoon, facilitation skills for leading engagements. Guys, this is about moderating, facilitating, helping the senior leadership team coalesce around a goal and move towards that goal. Very good stuff. Food and fuel is included when you register, like breakfast. There's lunch every day. If you stay for the conference, there's a cocktail networking event up on the roof of the venue, and there are refreshments all day. Caffeine, water, snacks, brain food, keep you in the game. Had to show a picture of Charleston. Couldn't resist. We have our own space up on the roof. It's going to be fun. Now you're wondering, how does this compare to some of the other learnings that you already have? Maybe you're a certified business exit consultant. That is currently offered for $2,500 online, and it's a lecture format. Okay, I was the interim director of the International Exit Planning Association that administers the CVC program. I think that exit planning, the CEPA, is also an outstanding program, as is the CEXP. Exit planning is the ultimate strategic plan, and you can see that in what we're teaching in the workshop, right? It's the ultimate strategic plan because it connects personal and professional goals. If you wanted to become a CEPA, it's a lecture format. That's $4,000 live. If you wanted to become, or if you already are, a CVA, evaluation credential, that's 5 days. It's a lecture format. You have to submit a plan to become credentialed. that's $6,000. This is introductory pricing to become a growth specialist. This is learning how to plan, but more importantly, or as importantly, learning how to do. Planning is critical, and that is a sellable service. Doing is also critical to turn the plan into the reality. That is another sellable service. And this is experiential. So we use very few slides. We have a 1-inch thick workbook and a stack of works from those giants we discussed. This is learn by doing, and the SRP is a little under $2,000 live in Charleston. But wait, there's a special discount that's available for a limited time, and we'll talk about that in a sec. Now, why would you make this investment? Because you're going to be able to generate a 10 to 20 times ROI from your investment in these skills. We promise, my commitment to you is that you will learn skills you can apply immediately. You get a 10x ROI if you land just one new project. Analysis, $4,500 to $10,000 of revenues to you. Strategic growth project plan, $10,000 to $50,000 of revenues to you. Execution, those monthly retainers, as you help the team be accountable to the plan, $36,000 to $60,000 a year. That's a huge ROI. Now, if you're wondering how to register, there's a special discount code, GROW, all cap, GROW. That's valid for the next 5 registrants. You go to growth-drive.com, go to the specialist workshop. On that page, you'll see at the bottom there's a connection to the hotel. The room block is expiring this weekend. So please, if you're thinking about registering, don't wait. We're actually capping the class and we're near capacity. I have oral commitments to have the class at capacity, but I wanted to make sure that people knew that this was coming up. And if you have questions, email support@growthdrive.com. My email is george@growth-drive.com. Please email me directly if you'd like, because we're going to be closing out registration here shortly. Okay, I'd like to open it up for questions, guys. You have questions about becoming a certified growth specialist, and I'd be happy to answer them. So I'll put this back in order and make sure that everyone who's on the call, guys, let's make sure everyone can join. Andy, allow to talk. Welcome, Shante. Welcome, Mr. Cowper. Good to see you, Chris Kramer. So I think everyone, Sarah's here. So you all have the ability to ask questions. Fire away if you have them. Hi, Andy.
Hi, George. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, Andy Weevil is joining us from the United Kingdom. Andy is instrumental in helping design this course, build this course, and unfortunately won't be able to attend. Thank you, COVID. But Andy, great to have you.
Yeah, good to be here.
So does anyone have questions before we wrap up? I nailed it. You guys got all the information you need. That's terrific.
One question, George. This is Ken.
Hey, Ken. How are you?
Yeah. Can you just maybe go into a little more detail on what would be covered in the conference that would be in addition to what we're getting? Is that more practical application or just kind of continue to build on it? What would be the difference of the conference versus what we're going to get in the first 2 days?
Absolutely. So the conference will build, there's net new content that overlaps a little bit. So for example, Larry Prince, who's helping lead the workshop, is going to be putting on a little over 1 hour workshop on senior leadership, right? So we'll drill down. It'll be complementary to, and will stand on its own right, complementary to what we do in the summit. Likewise, we're going to process Ken, this will sound familiar to you. We're going to process a copy in the room, and
Okay.
and we're gonna you guys are going to put the copy on the table, and then we're going to work through it. And those are tremendously valuable. There's business development. There's a module on business development. There is Anna Halliburta is going to talk about collaboration. Anna's tremendous. She's going to run a session, also a half a dozen slides. A lot of it is discussion. We keep our sleeves rolled up and have some fun, right?
Okay. So I guess there'll be some additional practitioners that have gone through this before in the conference, right?
That's correct, Ken.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So we'll get a chance to meet more of them as well and see what they're doing, how they've put this to work.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Good.
And,
all right. Thank you.
Sure, Ken. As you know, we have a tight community, a tight and
Oh,
growing
yeah.
community. Ray Fernandez has asked, how does your curriculum and methodology compare with traditional evaluation principles such as the CVA? That is a fantastic question, Ray. Listen, the core value software, that tool that we use for analyzing the business, is actually promoted by the NACVA, so the association that maintains the CVA credential. It's promoted to CVAs because it helps make business value actionable. And what the Growth Drive workshop answers is, once I've done an analysis and I understand how to take action, where the many areas on which to take action of value, how do I prioritize them? We can't do it all at once, right? And how do we prioritize them in line with our clients' goals so that we create options at the end of each cycle, so that the CEO says, hey, and Scott and I were just talking about this earlier. So Ray, it dovetails really nicely. If you are a CVA and you want to provide value growth services, then this workshop is going to be a tremendous value. And in fact, this workshop comes out of a collaboration that we have with NACFA and working with the International Exit Planning Association. I hope that answered your question, Ray. Other questions? Great. Okay, perfect. I'm happy we got that in. Other questions, guys? Okay, well, if there are no questions, I will say thank you very much. Look at us finishing up right at the bottom of the hour. I want to thank you for your time. Please, we are in a full court press because we have to publish and ship documents. And unfortunately, the hotel is closing the discount window. So I would love to have you down. I'm deeply committed to having you guys in the room. It's the feedback from the first workshop was outstanding, and I would love to have you. So with that, I'd say thank you very much, and we will talk soon. I'm going to end the recording and wish you a good day. Thanks.
Thank you, George.
Thank you.